Hi there, everyone. My name is Lauren Salter. I'm our Senior Director of Unified Champion Schools, and I'm going to take you through our preseason coaches webinar for this year. Just a little bit of housekeeping on here. So the biggest thing that I want you to be concerned about in this is making sure that you utilize this information throughout the season and that you're also sharing this with anybody on your coaching staff. Feel free to share this with parents, guardians, administrators. All this information is definitely not top secret, and we want to be able to provide that to anybody that this is going to be useful for. Few things that we're going to cover today is we'll go over team and coach requirements. We'll talk about the different events that we have, go through divisions, what that divisioning process looks like for us on SOPA side and how it will affect you and your teams, what the 2026 updates and reminders are, go over some dates and deadlines, review some resources, and then I'll go over just some commonly asked questions that we typically get. So let's dive right into it and let's get started with some team and coach requirements. So we have some recommendations and some requirements of our coaches that are coaching, whether you are new or returning. First, we want to just go over some different ratios that we recommend as far as a team member to coach ratio. So there's a lot of moving parts to unified track and field. And with that, to ensure that we're giving the best experience to our student athletes, our recommendations are the following so that team number of 12 to 24, we say that we would love for you to have up to 2 coaches, a lot of moving parts. If you have 25 to 35 team members, we highly recommend 3 coaches. And then if you have anywhere between 35 and 40, that is the max number of team members that you can have, that you have 4 coaches. So in addition to these, you may have a number of one-on-ones and pairs that are assisting, and we love that that helps keep your practices organized and your meets run smoothly. Now, a few of the required coach trainings that we do have is if you are a new coach at this point or coming up shortly, you will have an in-person training that is required of all new coaches. They'll go through the nitty-gritty of all the details of what you need to do as a coach and prepare you with some baseline information of how to run practices, breakdown of different skills, how to select appropriate events for your athletes and whatnot. So in addition to that, if you are a brand new coach, you also need to take concussion and unified sports training. So these are 2 online courses that we require of all of our coaches. If you're a returning coach, you should have already taken these. These are one and dones for us at SOPA. If you have already taken a concussion training as a part of your additional coaching responsibilities, if you're coaching any other varsity sport and you already have this training certificate, you don't have to take it twice. Please just provide your existing certificate to your liaison at SOPA, and we can make sure that that goes into your coaching record for us. Don't have to do it twice at all, right? And then if you are interested in any opportunities that may exist outside of IUS or Interscholastic Unified Sports within SOPA, of your coaching responsibilities right now and may want to dive into some community-based, we would absolutely love that. And some of the requirements that we have in community that are optional for our UCS coaches is general orientation and protective behaviors. So if you have any questions about those 2 trainings that are also offered online, take a minimal amount of time, please reach out to your direct regional liaison at SOPA, and we can help walk you through that. So let's talk about eligible students, just to ensure that everybody is on the same page. The folks that you're recruiting for your teams are 9th through 12th graders. It can be boys or girls. This is a co-ed program. And this is for students that are up to and at the age of 21 that are still currently receiving services from the school district for a full school year period. So students that are returning until they turn 22 in that additional year are not eligible. Just to be clear, this is not a new rule. This has been in existence for quite some time. The required roster size that we have is 12 members is a minimum, 40 is our maximum. And as a general reminder that this has not changed, this has always been very baseline for all of our unified sports, is that students that are participating in a current sports season. For us right now, for track and field, it's spring, including the traditional track and field teams. These folks are not eligible to be as on the competitive part of your unified track and field team, right? They can train with your team. They can work right alongside them, give them some tips. go through training processes and practices together, but they are not a part of your competitive team. If you have any questions on that, please feel free to reach out to your direct contact or to me as well. So as far as roster requirements, so with this being unified, what that means is that we have a proportional amount of Special Olympics eligible students that have an intellectual or developmental disability and general education students. So although the ideal goal is to have 50-50 on either side of that with special education students and general education students, however, we have an allowable system that is 40% or 60% in either grouping, right? So if you have any concerns about when you're putting together your roster, if somebody qualifies as a athlete or a unified partner, please reach out to the person that you're working with for UCS, your direct liaison here at SOPA. We're more than happy to make sure that everybody has a whole lot of clarity on where those folks land. We only truly care about if we are categorizing an individual as an athlete or a unified partner, so we can see that the team is truly unified. After that, it does not matter, and all we want you to do is to refer to all of your team members as that, as teammates, as student athletes. The label drops, right? We only need that on the back end just to see that the team is unified. These are student athletes that should be looking at each other as peers. Some of our required paperwork that we have. So we know this is everybody's favorite thing to try and collect, right? All the paperwork. So what you need to do is have your PIAA medicals done for every participant. We don't need it. Do not attempt to send it in. That stays with your school, right? So this is the same paperwork that is done for any other varsity sport participation. The thing that we do need, however, is a completion of a SOPA waiver. This is an online Google form that comes to us, and this is how we populate our rosters, right? So all coaches and participants must complete this form so that they will show up on your roster. Here's just a little snippet in the picture here below to let you see what you will see when we send you a link to your roster. So it'll be a unique link, so you'll only see your team members. You'll see who has registered to this point, and it will give all their information there to transition them to your roster. If anybody needs a paper copy of this, not a problem. We're more than happy to provide it, and we can make sure that that comes through your SOPA liaison, all right? Your roster links will be emailed to you from your SOPA liaison. So be on the lookout for that. That way you'll be able to track who in real time has registered. Bib numbers. So every student athlete will be issued a bib number and a race bib that will pertain to them for the entire season. So they only get one number. It does not change. It will be assigned to them by Special Olympics Pennsylvania. And if that bib is lost, then you're going to have to construct one. We've seen some very creative, almost exact replica versions of this be made, but best practice is when you get to a meet, go ahead and pin that on their uniforms. Then at the conclusion of the meet, collect them up, and then that will get you through the season as best as possible, right? So if you have any trouble with that, again, please feel free to reach out with us, but we do one bib per person so we can identify them in our system, and it is their unique number that we move through from meet to meet. As far as uniform goes, we do provide uniforms, and everybody at this point has received a link to order those uniforms. If you're a brand new school, you've never done track and field before, you are ordering a jersey top and a set of shorts per team member. That's listed on your roster. Again, so that's a minimum of 12, maximum of 40. And then any returning school can order up to a maximum of 15 uniforms based upon your current roster. Remember, you are supplementing what you have already. These aren't uniforms that are given out and then leave with people every year. They should be treated as the uniforms of any other varsity sport. So you give them out during the season, you collect them at the end, you're maintaining them, and then we're able to supplement each season what you might need to fill those gaps of need. You can also order a maximum of 4 coaches polos. we recommend that you've got one polo per coach. This does not apply to paras or one-on-ones. These should be folks that are knowledgeable of your entire team, not just working with one individual. So if somebody that is managing the meet has any questions about your team, they're able to communicate what that answer needs to be, right? Equipment. So your school has been provided the following equipment from SOPA. So they have, and please check your inventory since it is the beginning of the season. Make sure you have all of these things. And if you are a brand new school, you will be receiving these. So you will need to have 3 mini jabs. They're all 400 grams. A shot put that is 6 pounds. That's universal. Doesn't matter if it's men's or women's. Competition is co-ed competition. We use 1 shot, 6 pounds, and 2 relay batons. So please look through your inventory. You're looking for 3 mini jabs, 1 shot, 2 relay batons. If you're returning to school, if you're needing a replacement of any of these items, please let your liaison know. And please give us a reason of like, hey, what happened? Just so we have an idea of what is going on. Practice requirements are that you have practice 2 days minimally after school. They cannot be held during the school day. We have a number of teams across the state that do practice more than twice a week. You are more than welcome to do that. We love it. We love the competitive nature of our teams. So if you want to practice more than twice a week, by all means, you absolutely can. What we do require is that too, if you have a meet during that week, you don't have to have 2 practices in addition to that. You'll have 2 unified track and field activities per week that occur, right? Schools are required to participate in a minimum of 3 regular season meets. I know our staff is working diligently with schools right now to finish out our schedules for all of our leagues across the state, and that will be ensured already in those schedules that everybody gets those 3 regular season meets. And then we do have some leagues that have asked for more competition, so there will be a number of leagues that do have more than 4 at the request of our schools. So all regular season meets are tri-meets, so that means that everybody is going to go to a meet with 2 other schools. 3 of them will be there in total, and that is our traditional method of track meets. Let's go over a little bit about our events, and they are to be run in this order as well. So we have a defined schedule that we run individual track meets, individual track events, excuse me, all field events simultaneously, and then wrap with the relays. There are no open pits. We very, very specifically run in this order every single meet across the state. So we start with our 100, and our individual events are the 100, the 400, and the 800. We move into our field events, all happening simultaneously again. The shot put, the mini jab, the long jump, those wrap up, and then we're concluding the track meet with a 4x1 and a 4x4. In your relays, each team member may compete in only one. And just going over all of these events here. So as we're looking at all the relays and all of our track events and field events, each team member can register for 1 track event, 1 field event, and 1 relay, whether they are competitor or an alternate. And once they are registered, and once that is locked in, they cannot change events. They're required to compete in that same event for each of those categories for the entire season. And that's because we have their best score is going to follow them from meet to meet and ensure that they are always in the proper divisions. For our relays, these are composed of our relay teams, whether it's a 4x1 or a 4x4, composed of 2 athletes, 2 partners. Gender does not matter. And then you can also register 1 alternate athlete and 1 alternate partner, excuse me, for each team. A student can only be on 1 relay team, even if they're listed as an alternate. Teams must remain the same for each competition, and if 2 athletes and 2 partners are not present to race, then that team will have to scratch. A little bit about wheelchairs. So if you do have any individuals that are utilizing a manual or mechanical wheelchair, we do have some guidelines that go along with each of these. So if an individual is using a manual wheelchair, they can compete in track events, relays, and field events. And they will be competing against individuals with or without disabilities that are not in manual chairs. If anybody is using a mechanical or a power chair, they can compete in track events or field events, but they are not eligible for relays. And in the track events, they will only be divisioned against other individuals that are utilizing a mechanical or power chair. Let's dive into divisions. So divisions for us, or heats, as you might see them on your heat sheets, are competition groups. So these are the groupings of student athletes that are going down the track together or in a throwing heat together that are scoring against one another. So unlike traditional track and field where there is only one 100-meter winner or one shot put winner, every single division has the ability to score for their team. So every set of runners that goes down the track is going to have a scoring set of first place receiving 5 points, second place receiving 3, and third place receiving 1. When we talk about divisioning, we're talking about participants with or without disabilities that are competing in their co-ed competition groups. And you may see divisions of all athletes, all partners, all boys, all girls, but the majority of them will end up being a mix of all of those things. So these divisions are determined by each individual's qualifying distance or score. All the events can be co-ed, so they will be mixed gendered amongst the heats, and it will all depend on their qualifying score. When we look at setting up each of these meets, we are not looking if they are a partner or an athlete. We're not looking at their gender. We're strictly looking at their qualifying distances and their times. So one of the things that I always tell our new coaches and returning coaches alike is to provide that information to parents and caregivers, because that can look very different from other competition that they have seen prior to Unified Track and Field. So it's not a surprise when they see their son or daughter running against somebody of a different gender or whatnot, and that all of these divisions are all set up just based upon qualifying distances and times. So they will all be very similar, and they all have an equal opportunity to win and score points for their team. So the qualifying scores and times that we're talking about need to be submitted to your liaison 1 week prior to the start of your league competitions. So this enables us to make sure that we're creating equitable divisions, and that if there needs to be any follow-up, that we're able to follow up, make sure there's no errors, and provide the best competition possible, right? So prior to those being submitted, we ask that you set up some sort of time trial, get a really good score on those folks, something that does mimic competition, so we are getting something as accurate as possible. And then that score will go into their first meet for us to division. Then after that first meet, we will be utilizing that best score to follow that individual, and then we redivision for every single meet. So similar to what I had just mentioned of just that best score following individuals for each of their events from meet to meet. Obviously, we want to see our student athletes improve, so we give them that opportunity, and then as they're improving, we are adjusting their score, so they're always going to have the best competition possible. If a student athlete does not beat their score from time trials or that meet, then the qualifying score or whatever score has not been beat throughout the season is what will carry over into that next meet. There are occasions where we do have divisions of one, so we try to group all of our divisions as close as possible within a small percentage of difference. And sometimes we have outliers that just don't have anybody that may be in that group to give good competition. So in those events, then we will have a scoring system that's based on qualifying time and distance, that if an individual beats their qualifying score, then they will receive 5 points as in first place. And if they do not, they'll receive 3 points if they were being awarded second place. And all that is obviously contingent as if the person does not disqualify themselves. And this is the same rule that applies for Divisions 1 in motorized wheelchair races as well. So that's not any different. Few updates and reminders going into this season. There has been no major rule updates, so you can have that information right up front. What we did do in our guidebook is just offer some clarity on some rules in the past that folks still have some questions on, but generally there are some points of emphasis that we want to go through. Number one, that during competition, coaches cannot provide hand-over-hand assistance or physical guidance. So if an athlete does need to have a shot put picked up for them or any other throwing implement, a coach can assist them by picking that up and handing that to them. However, it is the athlete that must throw or complete that event independently on their own. If they're not able to compete that event on their own, you're going through and you're trying to find the most appropriate event selection, keep that in mind. So we're registering for athletes for something that they're going to be successful in. Some other points of emphasis is that you are not allowed to pace. So that includes folks that are running around. They're no ill intent, I'm fully aware, but team members can get real jazzed up. They want to cheer on their teammates and they start running the track with that person. That is not just a SOPA rule, that is PIAA rule, and it will result in disqualification of the competitor. They can cheer for their teammates, but it is best that you stage folks around the track and they can move from point to point, that the person that is running. However, the folks on the infield of the track cannot pace them and run with them. Otherwise, they will be disqualified. We do not do any type of buddy runs or hand holding when we are doing running events. So students must participate in those events independently. So the only time that there needs to be any assistance or can be any assistance provided, excuse me, would be if anybody has a visual impairment, in which case a tether or utilizing a baton for a guide runner to assist another teammate is appropriate. But we do not allow any type of hand-holding or buddy style runs. That individual must run that event independently. At this point, everybody should have received a coach's guidebook. You'll have one hard copy that has been given to each of the schools, and then it is also published on our website as well. So as many people that need to access it as you can, print as many copies as you want. And what is in that guidebook is all of our rules and regulations, diagrams, step-by-step instructions of how you set up all the field events, and then also one-pagers on competition management, and then a set of volunteer roles and instructions. General reminder, all of our measuring is done in metric. So flip the tape. All of our measurements must be in meters and centimeters. Please do not submit anything that is not in metric. We don't want to get into the rhythm of having to convert all of our scores coming in. We want them to be as accurate as possible, and metric allows us to do that. We don't have to decipher if your 15.5 is 15.5 feet or 15 feet 5 inches. We can just ensure that if we need to record something, 4.57 meters is what it is. Looking at just some postseason advancement, just giving a quick heads up on this one. So we have 134 schools that are confirmed for competition this year. I love that. We're continuing to grow. 9 of those teams will qualify for states. That will be held at Shippensburg University. When we move to state level competition, we drop our roster numbers to 12 participants. So that can be a 6 and 6 or a 5 and 7 in either direction. It's also important to note that not all schools will participate in postseason. We'll ask for a letter of intent in advance with our advancement criteria that will allow you to let us know if you are interested in participating in regionals and states. So if you participate in regionals, you are eligible to participate in states should you win at your regional level. Not everybody has to participate at regionals. So regionals are looked at more of like an invitational of you intend on attending, and then that's how you get to states. And then individuals that choose to just participate in league championships will have to qualify for that. We're going to get into that in our next couple of slides here. So right now is a really important time to begin that conversation with your teams of, hey, do you want to do regionals and states? Are you interested in doing that? Do you have enough folks that are able to do that? It does fall over Memorial Day weekend, and that can be difficult sometimes. And then also taking into account any type of like graduation type of ceremonies. So talk to your teams now. So if you've got some underclassmen that are able to attend, if you have coaching staff that is able to attend, and you want to put in for that, put in that LOI, and we'll make sure that we get you assigned to a regional event and have the opportunity to attempt to qualify for states. All right, just go over some additional due dates and deadlines here. So if we've gone through a lot of these at this point, practices started on March 2nd. On the 5th, we had our state championship advancement meeting. March 6th, our uniforms were due. On the 12th, we're going to have an electronic score sheet and track management webinar at 3 o'clock. On Friday, the 13th, our one participant rosters are due. If you need any type of assistance with this, please reach out directly to your liaison so they can assist you with any trouble you might be having or any concerns that you have. Some additional due dates and deadlines. So 1 week prior to your league competitions, you'll need to have all your time trials and scores input. Again, this exact deadline is going to vary by location or region, and your liaison is going to coordinate with you on that. Our regular season meets can start the week of the 23rd and will run through May 1st. April 3rd is when your letter of intent is due. So your letter of intent again says, yes, we want to do regionals and states. If you do not turn the LOI in, that says, no, we're not, but you may qualify for league championship. So you still have an opportunity to participate in something outside of just regular season. The week of April 27th through the 6th is when we will have those regional championships or our state qualifier events. And then the weeks of May 11th through the 22nd is when we will have our league championships. And the folks that can qualify for league championships are folks that do put in LOIs or do not put in LOIs. So it all depends on how you perform through regular season. And then on May 22nd and Saturday, May 23rd, we will be at Shippensburg University for state championships. There is a coaches quiz. It is available, should be taken by March 13th. So you'll get this slide deck. You'll have all the links that we've talked about today embedded in that slide deck, so you can click and find those things very easily. Everything we've reviewed is in that quiz. It's open book, so you can have your guidebook right there with you and the slide deck. Just a few of the resources we have, various resources around different relay batons, long jump instructional videos, shot put, and mini jab instructional videos as well. And then just a few of the general questions that we get a lot is, do I have to turn in an LOI if I don't want to go to regionals or states? It helps us, but no, you don't have to turn in an LOI. Communicate that with your liaison so they know that you're not interested in attending a regional event. If it is a cold weather event and you are beginning of the season, can they wear hoodies? This is a very, very common one. They can wear a hoodie, but when they race, they need to take their hoodie off so their bib number is on the front of their uniform, and we can identify them as the athlete that's supposed to be in each of the lanes. Those are very, very common things that we get. As far as when to arrive at an away meet, I ask that your athletic director coordinate with the home athletic director to determine what time that should happen, just to allow your team enough time to warm up and that you're not conflicting with any type of dismissal. So if there's a specific way you need to get to a track, that you're able to do that without conflicting with that. Okay. Now, if you have any other questions that are on your mind that we may not have covered today, I ask that you reach out to your direct liaison that's been sending you information and will continue to send you weekly information throughout the entire season. And if they need any assistance, they will contact me and we are more than happy to get an answer for you. So we appreciate your time. We hope that you have a wonderful season full of really great competition. Please send us all the awesome things that are happening with your team. We love to see pictures. We love to see the joy and the success that you're all experiencing. And we just very much appreciate you taking the time to coach and provide this really great opportunity to our student athletes. So have an awesome season. We look forward to working with you and seeing how everything shakes out this season. Have a great day.